So guys, welcome after lunch. This session is going to be about building web apps with Kotlin. But before we start, I hope you guys had a good lunch. Did you? Yes. If you did not,
if you didn't, we are not responsible. Even
yeah,
we didn't.
I'm not. Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, see, I'm standing here anxious, and there are people coming in with food. It reminds me of my wedding. I mean. And you know what the worst irony is? Only the single people laugh at this joke. All right. Anyhow, I digress. Anyways, so people at the back, I hope you're able to hear me once again. And we'll be arranging mattresses for you guys because I see some faces dozing off after lunch. Anyhow, yeah, let's get started with our talk. So building web apps with Kotlin. I'm Mukund, by the way.
And I'm Nikhil.
Okay, so we work here at Globant, and we wanted to talk about Kotlin. It's a programming language. I hope everybody knows that. So before we move into the PPT, right, we wanted to show you guys something cool we implemented with Kotlin. So that's the app that we built. As you can see, it is a simple image search app. And just like Google Images, and it is integrated with the Pexels API. Okay, so that Pexels API gives us all the list of images which are contextually correct. So just like if you want to search for something like happy or sad or something, just like how it works with Google Images. So it's our little app, and if you search for something, let's just try it out, right? So if you search, I'm searching for happiness. I hope you got what I did there. So search for happy or something, you know. So yeah, everybody likes laughing, happy images. We all want to see that right now. So if you search for happy, you know, all of the images, the stock free images, get loaded over here in the stack below. Look how beautiful it is.
Look at the girl. It's the month of February, and looks like her salary was not deducted much.
Anyhow, so the list of images are populated here, and you can also zoom into each of these images. So when you click on each of the images, yeah, you will be able to see them on big screen, and you will also be able to peruse through them, yeah, in a carousel fashion. Also, we have implemented
full screen.
So if you full screen it, yeah. That's what it does, duh. All right, so this is something of a little app that we made that we wanted to show you guys. All right, so moving on to our talk about Kotlin. Before we move on to that though, we wanted to identify individual elements at work here. Okay, so when we will be seeing the source code, or we'll be going into this, we will be seeing you know, a lot of it, and we'll not be able to identify with images over here. So this is the search bar, which will be a distinct functionality. Then you have the list of images. You saw the loading symbol as well, right, coming up. That's another thing. And if you search for something, if you go back and search for something incoherent like Q or something, then we'll be giving you a nice little vector, which is my face in the morning every time I wake up. Okay. All right. So let's get started. Going back to the presentation. All right, so building web apps with Kotlin, right? So we built all of that in Kotlin. Let's see what structure we saw. We saw a structure over there, right? That's the structure over here in our app. So we are going deep dive into our app. So here's the main.kt with index.html. And it is inflating something called as app.kt. Everybody has an app.js, right, in their app? Yeah, and we have these distinct children being inflated from the parent. That is search bar, loading view, error view, and image gallery. Okay, so we saw all of those elements above. These are the elements here. So this is something what we call components. All right, so components. How many people are over here from React? Can I have some hands? Yeah, you guys will recognize, even Angular people recognize components, right? So similar concept happens with Kotlin here. So you have divided your app essentially into silos of working functionality or coherent functionality called components, right? So these are our components. Moving on to each of them. So before we go into each of them, right? Oops. Okay, so before I go into the code for search bar and it gets really boring and it's really incoherent for you to understand which of the working parts are there, I just wanted to show you how each of these components will be structured. Okay, so each of these search bar, loading view, error view, and image gallery will be structured in a certain way, like a class or a component, right? So let's see a roadmap for that. How about this? Okay, people from Java, anybody from Java? Oh, lots of hands. You will.
Thank you.
Yeah, he has.
I thought I was the only one.
He gets really, yeah, he gets really demotivated easily. Okay, so here's an example of a class, right? You guys will be able to understand, even JavaScript guys will be able to correlate the imports and the export, right? So this is the roadmap for our class or a component that we will be building. So each of those search bar and all will be looking like this from the inside. And I want you to identify the individual working parts here. Okay, so here's something called as props. Here's something called as state. React people, make some noise. You guys see this, right? So React state and prop concepts are borrowed or sort of inspired from React, and it makes it so easy for Kotlin guys to catch up, React guys to catch up to Kotlin. Okay, so props is basically the properties which are passed down to you. Okay, like, you know, last name. No offense to people who change their last name though. Okay, okay, and you have state. Okay, so state is basically inherent to your own component. It is a component's own property. Okay, it's unique to its component, right? Unique to the component. So it's like your first name. Guys, able to relate to this, right? Okay, and then we have methods and overridden methods. So overridden functions are basically the parts of your, parts that Kotlin imbues upon your class, which will allow you to initialize, render, paint the DOM. So those are the functions which are called the overridden functions. And then you have methods, right? So methods are something which you build on your own. Okay, so methods basically contain business logic, basically, right? So all your business logic will be part of the component's methods. Now, since you've understood how this goes, let's take a look at each one of the search bar and all the functionality that we built without a further ado. Yeah, so that's your first app.kt, the main.kt. So main.kt is basically inflating app.kt, right? And it's nothing but a main function. Okay, there's only one main function in your application, and it is basically putting the it is taking the DOM element, okay, and it is injecting your entire app into it. React people will make, we can relate to this, right? So that's what's happening over here essentially. It's just a small function, and you are requiring all the CSS, and you're inflating something called as an app, a component app. Okay, let's take a look into what an app is. Okay, so here's the distinct functionalities I was talking about, right? 4 parts. Remember the 4 parts: state and render. So we can see, so we went another level down. Okay, from main.kt to now app.kt. And app.kt is telling you about state that it holds. And then it's telling you about render. Okay, so render is a method which is part of overridden functions, and state is basically the state, the unique properties of a class that we talked about. So here's an state, error messages, loading, image gallery. So you may get image gallery, you may not get image gallery, you may get loading, you may not get loading, you may get error, you may not get error. So all of those eventualities for that class are present in the state. And here is the render method. Render method is used to inflate the children components. Okay, so children components you guys can see, there's the search bar, there's the loading, there's the error view, and the image gallery. Okay, so these are being inflated, and we'll go deeper down the hierarchy from here. So one point to note here is that if you see, loading is being given the state.loading. So my application state is being passed down the chain to loading view, okay? And the error view is getting the error messages, okay? So all of the state is being puppeteered and being passed down as props to your children. Very relatable to JavaScript developers, right? So deeper down to search bar.kt, which is the search bar which we just saw. Again, I would like you to identify the elements we have separated out here. So you have state and props, the render method, and the method here. This is something new. So method is basically, we were passing down the function from over there from app.kt, and we are using that function in order to get the response. Okay, so here is our business logic. Okay, so we are taking the event and we are setting the state and we are calling a function which was passed down from the props. And you have a render method, which is nothing but an input. Okay, so it's as simple as that. And apart from that, we have one more element. Okay, so the element called functional component for loader.kt. So you saw a little loader loading, right? That was this component. Okay, so again, for as it goes with React, you don't actually have to create a class component all the time. You can create functional components, okay, in Kotlin. So functional components will, as you can see, the code is really simple. I'll just help you understand this. So isLoading is something we are getting from the props, right? It was passed down from the app.kt. And here, when we get that, based on that, we are loading either an H3 or just empty. So if it's loading, it's loading, then it will show the H3, otherwise it won't. It's as simple as that, right? So you can create concise components through Kotlin. You can create very elaborate components through Kotlin, and it will only contain those 4 parts that we talked about. Okay? Okay. So, yeah.
So let's combine all the knowledge that we just saw and what steps we'll have to take if we are to create our own application in Kotlin, web application I'm talking about. So the first one would be creating concise components. So when I mention component, it is an individually performing unit that is fully sustainable. We can use it elsewhere. We can make use of that particular object in our other view as well. So that brings us flexibility, right? Plus the next one would be using your NPM existing packages. So we are not telling you to reinvent the wheel, right? So why to reinvent the wheel when there is already a solution provided by some brainy one who has set up his library somewhere. We could just directly import it in our Kotlin project and use it. Pretty clean, right? So it doesn't mean giving up on JS. You can use your directly JS code that is implemented in JS and make use of it in Kotlin. The next one would be using external API. So we are not restricting you to just showing static data, okay, hello world and all, okay. So yes. That's not the case over here. We can make use of the DOM's fetch API call, wherein we could make use of the NASA's free API, wherein we could get all the images of the galaxies and Milky Way and show it on our website. Pretty beautiful, make it more beautiful, right?
So basically, that's just the run-of-the-mill thing that you would do for any of the web application. We are just trying to show you how simple it is with Kotlin. Okay. Moving on to the next one is building it. Okay, so every app will have to be built. Okay, so basically what's happening behind the scene, you guys are wondering like what happens with Kotlin, right? You create an application with Kotlin and it just starts running. It doesn't happen that way. So your browser understands JavaScript, right? So your browser, we need to give JavaScript to the browser. So your application is basically being built. It is being first transpiled from Kotlin to JavaScript, and then the bundle is created, and that's what's being used. Okay, so a simple point over here is that we have, for our application, for our explorations, we used Create React Kotlin app, which comes with a bundled Webpack, right? And yeah, maybe you can hold the questions till the end. Yeah, sure, thank you. So we would be building, if you want to use Webpack, your own Webpack configuration, which most of us would like to, then you can just npm eject and use your own. Okay, it's as simple as that. And then you have deploy. Okay, so this is just a JavaScript bundle. As it happens with any other JavaScript bundle, what you would do with that, it's the same here with deployment, right? You can deploy it on a node thread, or you can use any of the cloud providers. It's just the same with any JavaScript. So in the end, you are getting a JavaScript package. Okay, so that's what we had in store for when you want to create your own app.
So
enough.
enough of this tech talk, right? Coding, why we are showing
Who
you
wants
code
to
and
play a
making
game?
you code.
Huh? Can I have some hands raised over here? I mean,
Let's
it's
play
like
a game,
it's
people,
after
come on.
lunch, right? We won't ask you the hard questions that these people did. I mean, don't worry. Okay, don't worry. We will be gentle. Okay. So okay.
Just to give you an idea of it, I'm Team Kotlin.
Yeah, and I'm
your
Team JS, and this T-shirt is too small for me. Okay. Okay, so let's play a game. Which one would you choose? Okay, we'll show you some code snippets. Okay, I want you guys to objectively tell us which one is better. Okay, by raising hands. Is that clear? Okay, and it's very simple, right? It's like you go in the evening, you go out from office, and it's like Tinder. Okay, you're like, okay, which one would I choose? All right. I mean, people are. Some people at the back started leaving because they are going to their dates. Anyhow, yeah, guys, please, you can do Tinder after this. All right. So, which one would you choose? Without further ado, let's get started. Okay. I want as many hands raised as possible. All right. We won't ask you any questions.
And we have a bet between us. And it's like WWE. It's scripted. I'm going to win.
Hey, it's not, I mean, I'm not kidding. You can't make this stuff up, all right? I mean, I owe him a lot of money already, and I have to win, and I'm Team JavaScript. Remember that, all right? Just before going into this. So this is the first one, guys. You have a for loop here and a for loop there, okay? So which one would you choose? Are you able to see this properly? You are able to see this, perfect. So, yeah, how many hands up for the first one? Oh, wow.
Team
All right. People are already starting to turn around. Anyhow, this is the second one. I mean, it's the bulky one which we use so far. Yeah, guys from my team are raising hands because they hate me. Because they hate me. Okay. All right. Fine. So, the first one wins. I mean, I'm Team JS and I'm telling you this because I have a bigger mic. Okay. And the second one. Okay. How many hands? So, okay. This is just an if statement. Okay. And a result is being given to, based on an if statement. So, how many hands for the first one, guys? How many hands for the first one? We won't ask you any questions. No hands. There are no JavaScript lovers here. All right. How many hands for the second one, guys? This election is rigged. This election is so rigged. All right. It's obvious, right? It's being used as a function, right? How cool is that? Second one. All right.
So this one is going to make the JS people change their votes as well.
There are no JS people here, it looks like. Okay, so here are two switch cases. We call it when in Kotlin. Oops, I gave it away.
Yes.
So look at the first one, how simple it is, how efficient it is, right, to write that one. And this, a mess. Look at this mess. It is a mess out here, okay? I'm just writing and I have to write this whole code for nothing. I mean, the first one wins. I mean, I know I'm Team JS, but whatever. Okay, the last one. It's pretty obvious here. This is a class declaration. Are you guys able to see, by the way? At the back, it might be hard for you. You're able to see? I see, yeah. Okay. So, how many hands for the first one? That's... okay. All right. Don't. Even I'm saying no. Okay. Well, the second one. How many hands up for the second one? By the way, I'll just tell you, if guys who are not able to see this, the second one doesn't have a constructor. It's amazing. I mean, it's just over there on the first line. I mean, how many times have you guys written constructors? I've written more constructors than I've signed my own name. Okay. It's no kidding. It's not a joke. You're expecting a joke. It's serious. Okay. So second one wins by far. I know this election was rigged. I mean, that's why I didn't wear the T-shirt.
But Mukund, still I see a similar kind of expression across the faces about the people in the crowd. You know what expression?
I'll show you that.
This. But, right? Question is, why Kotlin? So I'll give you the reasons. Okay, so Kotlin is a statically programmed language created by JetBrains, and it was made open source in 2012. But nobody knew Kotlin back then, right? It was a small bunch of people who were actually making use of it. But since Google I/O 2017, Google made a huge announcement that Kotlin will be used for developing Android apps. Kotlin will be the official supporting language for Android platform. And then it started gathering a lot of interest from the community, and all its benefits than when compared with Java, many people liked it. For example, just to give you a reference, Kotlin is amongst the top 5 languages liked, loved, trending on Stack Overflow.
And on GitHub.
And Stack Overflow, bhai, apni rozi roti chalti hai usse, right? Copy and paste.
Okay.
So, and there are n number of reasons as well. For example, familiarity. If you are coming from a compiled language background, you will be able to relate with the syntax in no time. You will be able to catch up Kotlin syntax in no time. Plus, there are a hell lot of features that Kotlin provides. For example, interoperability. You will be able to call your JavaScript code from your Kotlin code. We just saw in the demo, right? That's possible. But it's not the one way around. It's the other way around as well. You will be able to call your Kotlin code as well from your JavaScript code. Cool, right?
It's super cool.
And we played the game. It's pretty concise. It takes less number of lines to implement similar functionality than in any other language, right? So there's a principle actually which I really follow when I'm implementing a piece of code. So the principle is, please don't laugh, huh? The lesser lines of code you write, the lesser debug hell you go in. That doesn't mean giving lesser deliveries and all, okay? So don't relate that. So just to support that, I'll provide you a reference. A profile of a developer was highlighted during a conference. It said that there was a guy who really loved blackjack. We all do play games, right? How many PUBG lovers over here? I am. So what he did was, he created blackjack game in Java. He was on bench, look like. So he created the whole game in Java, and then he gathered some interest in Kotlin, and he thought of why not experiment the whole project in Kotlin. He again went back, rewrote the existing application in Kotlin. It was free.
He was on bench probably.
He was on, or his manager didn't have any problem.
I don't know about him.
So, and his observation was the total number of lines of code were reduced by 17%. 17
that's a huge
big
number.
percent.
We are fighting for KBs, fighting for bytes here.
Alright. So that's, and plus one more feature, the JetBrains guys. Those are the sponsors, so we'll have to thank them. Thank you, JetBrains. Thing is, yes, they are sponsors, right? So the Kotlin comes up with a very strong ID. It's called JetBrains ID, and it's way strong, it's way concise, and it helps you a lot. It's like, I mean, it's competing with the Xcode of the Apple guys. I hate Apple, okay?
I don't, so it's even.
And many more.
So yeah, basically to convince you guys, not to convince you, but just to make a case, we divided this thing into 2 parts, for front end and for back end. So Kotlin for front end obviously doesn't mean giving up on JavaScript, right? You will be able to use the npm packages which are existing, and you will be able to write code which is familiar, like it's similar to JavaScript, okay? And many other features.
Many other features such as, if it's saving your time to implement similar logic, it's less number of lines of code. So it will end up saving your time as well, right? That means you'll be more productive in the given amount of time. Pretty concise, right? And it's clean. We have checked the syntax. Mukund lost.
What?
Mukund lost in the game. Yes. Plus it comes up with many cool features such as safe call operator. Now I know there will be some people who are from TypeScript background who might come up with a question that it is supported in TypeScript. But here our nemesis is JavaScript, so yes, please don't ask questions. We'll take that up later.
Yeah, we will definitely take those up later.
And type safety and all, and plus we have one more cool feature, but we'll discuss that in the back, the features for backend part. So it's interoperable, right? You can use Kotlin wherever you are currently using Java. And by that, I don't mean that you will have to move all your .java files out of into a recycle bin and then convert your all the files into .kt. No. Trust me, my experience, we had a Java project, Android actually it was, and few of the files were in Java and few were .kt and they worked seamlessly. So it doesn't mean that you'll have to go through all of the hell work migrating all your project existing code into Kotlin. Plus, less code, so it saves your time, it's less debugging hell as well, just I mentioned.
Everybody is happy.
And faster incremental compilation than Java.
Yeah, I put that point. I mean, it's provable.
It's improving, yes. Yes, it is faster incremental than Java. It reduces time on consecutive builds. Plus, the best part or the thing which got my attention or which created interest in me was the coroutines. So these are an alternative for threads without the overhead of that multi-threaded platform. Way cooler. Please go out and check it out. And at the end of the day, it is JVM bytecode. Whenever you compile a Kotlin code, it will turn it into JVM bytecode. So all the memory part, the CPU cycles and all will be the same. No change.
Right. Isn't that awesome, guys? We have another, championing feature over here. Okay, called multi-platform. Okay, it's coming up right up in 1.3. It is still in the experimental stages and it's being released. So what is multi-platform all about? It is basically like you are making, you are writing code for a lot of platforms, and you have, you end up using a lot of redundancy. You end up writing a lot of redundant codes between 2 teams or 3 teams or whatever, right? And a lot of platform-specific code is always written along with that particular platform-specific repository, correct? So
just to relate that, how many people have worked on projects who were actually deployed on different platforms and had to implement similar logic across all those platforms? All the complex logic. Here, Kotlin is providing a solution where you will implement the complex business logic which will be at a single place and which will be used across platforms.
Yeah, let me explain to you. So all your code will be in the shared place, and all of that code will be present along with, so you have a platform specific API, certain ways that iOS does things and certain ways that Android does things, that will be present here in the common place along with the things that use that code, the functions that use that code, right? So those functions you can just port them and give them the targets. Like for iOS, you can give iOS target, and for Android, you can give JVM target, and many more. So you can port them out and use them in your platforms agnostically. That's really cool because this reduces the time to build, and this creates a single source of truth for all your common code, okay, across projects. So before we move forward, I just wanted to take a moment here. Not all of us might be developers and might be new to it, right? So here we have something for everybody. So that's what we call opportunities. Okay. So opportunities is basically things that you can do and things that we found in our exploration would help everybody. Okay. Starting from the first one is #UnifiedDev. It's a thing that what we are saying is Kotlin end-to-end. We are making a case for that, specifically suited for projects which are Java based in the backend. As I said, right, as Nikhil said, the project on the Java is seamlessly interoperable with Kotlin, right? And it is faster to move to Kotlin. It is less lines of code, and the whole case is there, right? So it'll be a really good point for Java projects to move to Kotlin. In fact, many of them are. And then your front end moves to Kotlin as well. That's what we call Kotlin end-to-end, right? So that will make for a unified experience. Okay, and that would make to cut down, all your duplicity, and your developers, like I'm a front-end developer, he's a back-end developer. I'll be a back-end developer, he's the front-end developer, and our faces will be same. Okay.
And if someday Mukund runs away, my manager will catch me and me sit to work, do his work.
All right, let's not go too far. But okay, so that's what we call Kotlin end-to-end. Second opportunity that we have is expand horizons. Now, Kotlin is a language not just for front end, or we are not just making a case for web. You can create iOS apps with it. You can create macOS apps with it. You can create Android apps with it, and you can use it in data science projects. So, what basically it does is that it's like if you learn Spanish, the entire library of Spanish, entire literature is there for you, right? So that you can go on and explore. So I think that for people who are moving between stacks, for people who have been restricted with their stacks because of some language or because of some framework or something, right? It will be really helpful if you know just one language and move and create apps for everything, right? So Nikhil wanted to share something about this one, part of his own journey.
So I'm primarily an Android application developer and was working with Java. So, and iOS being my nemesis, I never thought of writing apps for iOS. I hate it, you know it, right? So since I started learning Kotlin, my experience is we learn it in no time. You don't require much time or separate dedication to learn the language. You will be able to catch the syntax and all because it's way simple. So it's look like somebody who was English teacher designed Kotlin. If you let me elaborate that, if you check the syntax and all, you will find that the logic that is written, you will be able to relate it in a single English sentence.
It's really intuitive, and it's a great blend of JavaScript and Java, right? It's a great middle thing, sort of.
And I was just building applications for mobile platform, but a month ago, we started experimenting it by developing the web app, and then I am a unified dev now, right? I can jump between platforms, and
he thinks
there's a catch actually. All the web developers over here, no offense, okay? So, but all the mobile developers always had this feeling that web guys have started making use of the React Native, the Cordova and whatnot other platforms, and started making mobile apps and taking work from our plate. We were all angry, right? But this is karma, people. So mobile developers over here, anybody? So it's for us, man. We'll be able to fight them now. We'll be able to take work from their plate. Yes, it's karma. Karma bites back.
Okay, and the third one we have is something called as create. Let me share you my journey. Okay. It's not that serious. Okay, but as a JavaScript developer, when I started out, in front end as well as in back end, I found that I was becoming a consumer. There were many, like millions of libraries, and everybody had, created these things which I had no idea how they worked. I just knew how to implement, right? Express, right? I mean, it's just super cool that they do that. I mean, but you know what? I just felt with a sense of longing that, I didn't have anything of my own, right? Anything to call my own, anything original to create, right? And Kotlin, given its, booming developer base and, people who are catching up to it and people who are, waking up to it, given all that, right? Given that it is just the rising sun level, it gives you an opportunity to make something original, okay? And that's where I'm reaching out to the developer in you, okay? No offense to the library aficionados here, okay? So they can keep using it. But, if you want to create something of your own and new, it might just be the most original thing in Kotlin right now. Okay, so I want you guys to go out and check this, thing out, and maybe, how many times all of us have implemented libraries which they were so rigid, and we would just end up, getting frustrated that we use them, but they are so cool also, but like we are always in a limbo about that, and and we end up raising GitHub issues. Why not we create something on our own? I know it's ambitious to ask that, but it's always important for you to ask, like, how can I contribute, right? This will give you that, okay? So that's what we had about opportunities.
So,
sorry, I'm dyslexic.
He's confusing me. So, too much encouraging, right? We are not pushing too much, right? So we are not asking you to be the guinea pigs. It's already trending. Biggies such as Yandex, Chalk, TouchLab, VMware people, Kareem, the Ola of Uber, Ola of Middle East. These guys have already started migrating their projects into Kotlin. I guess they also have their websites written in Kotlin now, and it's increasing day by day. If you check Stack Overflow data and all, it's in the top 3.
Yeah. Giveaway time. Okay. Just
Please ignore. We are
please
not
ignore
giving
the
out
car.
cars.
Okay, we don't have cars for you. But okay, we have something cool in store for you. You guys know the theme that that was presented by the was given by the anchor, right? So we want you to create a multi-platform app using 3 or more platforms. Okay. And we want you guys to have submissions to us. More information you can get at uiorbit.globant.com. And we'll choose some of the best implementations. So using that theme, using 3 platform, you can have more. Or even 2. I won't discourage anything. But please submit to us, and the best ones we find, they're gonna get a whole basket of JetBrains licenses. All of them. How cool is that? Can I have some applause for that, guys? Speaking of applause and getting attention.
The most important part.
Okay, so here's the narcissist. I want you guys to use your Twitter apps or any QR code scanner to tweet us your feedback, and tweet us how you felt about that, our session, and the whole thing, right? The whole thing about Kotlin, what you want to make with it, how UI Next is. So you will be able to just simply scan this, and you will be able to tweet, all right? So I want your phones out. In fact, this is not just your Airtel feedback form, okay? Like, please hold for another beep. Okay, it's not like that. You guys will have to tweet this one, all right? Fine, so I have another trick. I have a really fragile ego. Okay, if you don't tweet this, I'm going to snap. Okay, okay, enough forcing you guys. So please tweet us or tweet anything about this session, and that will help us improve. Again, round of applause for the audience. They're a great audience, such good laughs. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. You were great. So, any questions? Any questions? Yeah.
How does this work on the web browser? Does it compile to JavaScript?
Can you please repeat?
How does it work on the browser? Does it compile down to JavaScript or something?
Yes. So Kotlin is basically transpiled to JavaScript, okay, and it is basically a JavaScript bundle at the end, ES5 bundle, okay. So it's similar as any of the frameworks that you use. Perfect, right? You write your code in Kotlin, you write your backend in Kotlin, and it just gets transpiled into JavaScript. Any questions? Yes. Can we have the mic, please?
We can throw this up.
Can you hear? Yeah, I'm just curious why Google initially, they've chosen TypeScript for Angular as a language, but then promoted Kotlin as official language for Android apps.
I wish I knew the answer, but they never replied back to my resume. That's the truth. No, but yes, I don't know much about TypeScript, but yes, Kotlin being open source, and they supported Gradle as a build platform, build tools. That's why and the integration was seamless with the existing Java platforms. That's why they went ahead with. They even thought of trying out Swift actually. Yes. Too many things.
Thank you.
Yeah, one last question, and then we can break.
Please pass the mic. Guys, we are actually short of time. We'll take one more question. We are setting up a booth, so you can visit us. You like the session, you didn't like it, you just really want to meet us, please come. But please come.
Why would you want to just meet you?
So it transpiles to JavaScript and it runs on JVM as well. So how does it work out?
No. The output is JavaScript bundle. The JVM part, it's
It's just
another
for compilation.
project. Yes.
It's just for compilation.
Yes.
Yes, it is a transpiler which is by JetBrains. It transpiles, the proprietary transpiler transpiles into JavaScript, okay, and the NPM bundles that you use, right, on front end or back end, wherever they may be, they will be not transpiled, right? They will be used as is.
As it is.
Okay, so the Webpack whole configuration can then be easily deployed.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just another JavaScript bundle.
There is no change for your deployment process. Don't worry.
And it's fully configurable. If you don't want to use Create React app, you can just use your own NPM Webpack configuration. I'm sorry. Yeah. So guys, so what we'll do is we are running a little short on time. And so what we'll do is that we have a booth set up, okay, and all your questions which come out, we want you to vigorously ask questions about this. We want you to check this out. It's a new kid on the block, okay, and it deserves notice, all right, with all these things setting it apart. So if you have any questions from here, if not now, maybe later, please ask us at the booths, all right. You've been great, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.